I don't know, woman's house or man's house.
Wow.
And there were times where she wanted. So I mean, it's just I can't find no other way to say it. You know, we went from being at home to going to church and being
The
to
pastors.
The church itself has well over 4-5 million members worldwide. It's a large church, and it breaks down into states, and the states break down into jurisdictions.
I feel like that whole church needs to be under investigation. Yo, man, what's going on, y'all boys, man? You already know what time it is, man. Today we have a pretty crazy and sad video. You know, it's something pretty serious. So I don't want to make any type of mockery about it. And by the title and thumbnail, you really already know what to expect. But for you those who can't read, I can't really say what the title is. So you just go out to be lucked out and just have to listen and watch throughout the video to figure out what the video is going to be about. But this is a guy basically telling us of a story about how his parents used him for their yeah, I don't want to say too much because, you know, YouTube is very sensitive and a lot of people is very sensitive about like topics and things like this as well. But I'm just doing a reaction to it to really hear what's going on and bring a light to situations that happen in people's real life. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, just get my input and things like that on it, man. But, you know, make sure if y'all guys enjoy my reaction video that you hit the like button. Also, y'all let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on this down below, man. And prayers out to this man now, which is, it looks like from the thumbnail that I'm looking at, is that he's actually a grown man now. So, you know, hopefully just throughout his life and his past traumas, he got therapy and was able to, you know, heal from things that went on. But he's telling us his side of the story and things like that, you know. But we're going into it right now. Like I told y'all boys, make sure to hit that like button if y'all enjoyed this reaction video, man. And prayers out to him and his family, man. 1 like equals 1 prayer. So y'all do y'all due diligence, man. Let's get it. Let's go.
My name is Bill.
All right.
And I'd love to tell you about how I became a survivor of being by both of my parents, and also how I survived being by both of them. I was born in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. I was reared up in a very religious home in that, you know, we couldn't go to the movies, we couldn't dance, my sister couldn't wear pants. Father was an ordained evangelist of this national church that we were a part of, the largest.
He was an evangelist of a church, ordained evangelist of the church. Man, that is honestly sad. And I did a reaction before on a previous video of a pastor who came out and basically exposed himself and tried to downplay on what he did by exposing himself, you know. And a woman came up on stage. I'm gonna make sure I link it up, so it's probably gonna pop up on the screen somewhere right here for y'all to see it. It was actually a pretty sad thing, and something like this happens a lot, you know. But the fact that he was an ordained evangelist in church says a lot, and it's sad too.
Was an ordained evangelist of this national church that we were a part of, the largest African-American church in a Pentecostal organization. They taught the wives to take whatever they had to take in order to stay married. And my mother believed that she was a national mother of the church. She offered her children, me and my sister, to my father to be his slaves. There were things that we went through.
Wow, hold on, my bad, yeah, hold on. I didn't know that this was gonna be like this now. I was not expecting this to be like this now. So let me kind of get myself afloat and with this story that I'm finna be told. So this is wild. Like the mother of the church, like that is sad, man. Her own kids to the father, like that's sick.
That just, I could imagine any child going through that. My earliest memories around the age of 4. He started by coming in and massaging my leg. And then maybe the next time was my leg in my private area. Then he wanted to perform on me as a child. Then it went into me performing on him.
Wow.
And I also went through, you know, a situation where I was, you know, he was having prison with me very often. My sister went through some of the same things, but she went through, to me, it's even worse because eventually she had to have several abortions because of this. And she also was by one of his brothers who also was a minister of the church.
Wow. Like, bro, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like it was deeper than just the church. I feel like every parent that had to go to that church had to been on the same stuff, because there's no way that just his family was doing that stuff just to them. They had to been doing it to other kids as well, and the parents there knew. A church, that is sad, man. like several abortions as a little kid. Like when does, CPS and all that get involved when a child is constantly becoming pregnant? Like that doesn't even make sense, man. That's sad.
Eventually, our mother started having with us also. So you would think a mom would intervene and stop.
What? You would think, yeah, that's what I was going to say. You would honestly think that a mom would intervene and stop everything that's going on and protect her children. The fact that she decided, like, you know what he doing, I'm finna do it too, that's sick. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm pausing. I know y'all be telling me I hate when I pause it, bro. But when stuff like this happen, I have to give my input in because I'm going to forget by the end. And honestly, if you don't like that, I'm pausing. You can just bounce right now. Honestly, I'm going to give you a free go card right now. Just bounce. But this is wild, G.
Stop this and let's get away. Let's run. No, she eventually she wanted to share. I know she liked to do that when he was not there, or when he went away to someone's house, or there were times when he left her. There were times where they were separated and he was gone. He was at a woman's house, a man's house.
Wow.
And there were times where she wanted. So I mean, it's just, I can't find no other way to say it. We went from being home to going to church and being
pastors.
The church itself has well over 4-5 million members worldwide. It's a large church, and it breaks down into states, and the states break down into jurisdictions.
I feel like that whole church needs to be under investigation, because like I told y'all earlier, the fact that he just said that he was being sold to pastors too, like that just shows that it just didn't start at home. It ended at home. That was something that was going on within the actual church system in general. And that's just, man, dumb people. Just imagine preaching about the Lord and committing like sin. Like this is more than just creating sin, man. This is demonic activity. Like of taking innocence of children is sad, man. Like what?
Jurisdictions break down in districts, and then you have a local church. So you got the pastor, you got the superintendent, you got the bishop, and that's pretty much how it's structured. I mean, we were several bishops in the church. Our father, his role was an evangelist. He was licensed as an evangelist. He traveled around. He preached in different churches, like every Sunday, every other Sunday, or whoever invited him. So we would travel with him to these churches. He would either offer us to be by the pastor of this church, either before, after, or during service at some point. It was either of us, or some were sick enough, like both of us. So
wow,
we were in these different places where he went to preach.
Wow.
My mother, she would go and sing a song, and me and my sister, we were sent to the pastor's office, and you know what happens. Like I said, it was a very critical time, very hard time as a kid. Well, the abuse for me went on from the age of 4 up until the age of 12 or 13. So you go from, being a child that could hardly understand, don't know anything about it. Then you get older, you know exactly what's going on. You know what's going to happen. We had a so-called, a normal life in the sense of going to school every day. We went to public school. That was normal in that sense, but it happened, overnight. I can't say that I told anyone. Obviously, I didn't tell a lot of people, because, some people didn't find out about it until I started talking about 10 or so years ago. I didn't think to tell a teacher, because we were seen as important anyway. We were just 2 little black kids growing up in an impoverished neighborhood in government apartments. You would think as a teacher, teachers could tell something was going on, but they didn't care. Our voices weren't really heard. Growing up, I remember my room, and I remember going to my room, and I remember where all of it began was there were men standing outside my window wanting to get inside my bedroom, because obviously my father had told them, you can come into this room and you can have my sons. You would think that this right here would be traumatic, but I mean, it just got worse.
It just got worse.
And worse and worse. I remember feeling numb a lot as a kid. You can get to the point where it happens so much until you just like are dead. But I remember coming just like I would go to another place, another world, when that would happen, because it was a world that seemed to be more exciting than one I was allowed to have. Wishing it would be over, just wishing that whatever it was would stop. Introduced to us, me and my sister, I think I was around about 6 years old. Our mother, she would have what they call fish fries. So she would cook fish, make spaghetti, coleslaw, white bread. And they would invite their preacher friends over.
Wow.
And they would feed them, and they would send me and my sister on to our rooms and send the preachers in after us.
That's just sick. The crazy thing is, I'm honestly so speechless right now because he's saying everything in so much of the detail that I really can't even give my response, because it's going to be the exact same thing every single time. And it's just sad, like, preachers. Yes. And the fact that this church that's supposedly worldwide, that all of them was on the same thing, and the fact that they decided, like, okay, let's go and travel the world and also sell our kids to these preachers. That's like, it just seemed like it was a cult, or organized cult. And that's just sad. Like, it's a lot of kids who get kidnapped and put into them trafficking, I shall say. And it just seemed like this was organized trafficking. It don't seem like it was nothing less. It seemed like it was 100% organized trafficking, but it was nothing that they can somewhat do or, question, because it was a church. It's almost trying to seem like that they're trying to hide in plain sight. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, how can we do what we do and get away with it and not really get caught? You know what I'm saying? Like, who would think, like he just said, like, it just seemed like everything they were doing, they was covering their tracks. Oh, let's go and travel to this church. We finna go to this church and praise, the whole time that this is going on. Like, and if it just would have took for one kid to speak up, which is, I hope that he speak about this later, but it would have took one kid to speak up and it would have changed possibly everything. But like he said, just as a black kid, what it looked like in his generation, probably would have been like the 1980s. You know what I'm saying? 1980s as a kid. He's probably born in like 1970s, 1965-ish. But 1980s, and first around that time when he was first born and things like that, when he grew up as a kid and 6 years old, let me say, it just probably wasn't, they wasn't understood as much as we are understood now. So it was probably harder for them to just feel comfortable to go out and say something. But like he said, 10 years ago was his first time speaking something about it, because of course the world has changed. And just as a black man, something like that is more acceptable for people to have consequences for. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is wild, man.
Some of them like women, some of them like little boys, some of them like little girls, and some of them like both of us. So that's what happened, man. It was whatever they wanted, and whatever, our mom or dad, like I said, they were trying to pay rent, so they didn't care what they did. They just sent them in there after us and let them, just have whatever, whoever, how long. And it went from the home to different people's homes, and then it went into the church. So I mean,
Wow.
it was just so so hard. I mean, it was really, when I look back, it was a really difficult upbringing. It was a very hard upbringing. You could deal with a church and all their rules or whatever the case, but when it's going as far as, your parents are there, and then you're being so many people. I mean, it was a very hard to remember and very hard to discuss, but I'm glad I made it through it though. My sister and I leaned on each other a lot. I feel like we were the only ones that could understand. No one else cared, or nobody else wanted to know how we were doing. So, I feel like for a long time, like all we had was each other. It stopped around the age of 13 or 14. Bridget ran away from home several times. So I was like, now I'm by myself. Our mother stayed with him. She loved him more than anybody in the world. Unfortunately, my mother lived with me until she passed in 2004. He passed in the year 2000. So a lot of people ask me, how could you have bought a house and had your mother move in with you and all that? There were so many unanswered questions. They never, until the day they died, asked us to forgive either one of them for anything they did. They never said they were sorry. They never said anything. You're still asking and still wondering, like, why did this happen? Why did it happen? Why do we have to go through that? And then eventually it went into,
The fact that he took care of his parents, even after everything that went on.
What it was.
I'm just trying to think about it, y'all. Like, he took care of his parents, even after this situation. And they didn't speak of it. He don't have any clarification. Man.
And then after that, it just kind of, you just tuck it away in a closet somewhere. The hardest thing now is learning to forgive. That's almost been more terrifying than it is having gone through it, because you have to actually face all of these emotions, face all of these situations. You have to face everything. For me, I have to do exactly what the Word of God tells me, and that is to forgive. That has been a very bitter road. I started in ministry when I was in the second semester of college. A lot of people, I've talked to over the last few years are, like really shocked that I could be a minister, and having been by my father who was a minister and so many other ministers. I don't blame God for it. I don't go down the road of, well, God is not in control. Well, I said God is in control because I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell my story. He allowed me to go through that. I allowed my sister to go through that. Unfortunately, he knew that we had some strength in us somewhere in order to live through it, and that today we will be able to tell the story of how we were, by our own parents. Why do I share my story? I want to help people. I want to talk, and maybe someone can listen and hear me talk. They will get some kind of encouragement from that. I've gotten 3 degrees. I've gotten a bachelor's degree. I've gotten 2 master's degrees. So I'm going to law school. I know my life is kind of like I should have went to law school when I first went after high school, but things happened and I got more money, where I was studying. So I said, well, I'll forget about it. Well, here I am, 44 years old, and it's right back in my face. I just can't ignore it. I can't ignore it now. So I want to go to law school for religious rights, to protect the church, religious rights of the church, but I also want to protect civil rights. I want to help other people. How do I educate others of my past? Well, I know that being a man, being a male, that there are a lot of men out here who've been like me. Some probably have gone through worse. A lot of them probably gone through worse than what I've gone through. I want to help them, give them a voice, but I also want to give a voice to as many as would hear me. I would love to, I love to share my story now. I like to talk more about what we went through. I am writing a book. We are some close descendants of Alex Haley, who wrote the Book of Roots.
Okay.
I've given the name of the book is Twisted Root. I would like to help people because I'm still teaching myself by the Word of God on forgiving, and I think that forgiveness is very important. I think forgiveness is very powerful. Hate doesn't accomplish anything. Hate makes you more sick. Hate is not the answer. How do I get my story out? Or started a couple years ago, I was on a nationally syndicated show. And since then, I'm in different type work settings and in the church. I have, found a place for me to talk. Eventually, I believe nationally that I'll be able to tell my story again. I'm in a situation where I'm just wanting to share my story more. Me and my sister tried to report some of the things that were happening. We had started some litigation against the church for some of the things that happened to us. We came to a stopping point because of the way the civil laws work in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee is still one of those states where, you have a very hard time trying to go back and sue an organization like in the state of New York. You could bring in a lawsuit against an organization for being whatever the case was. So, but that has not happened in the state of Tennessee. So right now we're not moving anywhere with it, but It's still on our minds. How do I go on, or where have I found the strength to go on? Well, my senior pastor, Apostle Victoria Watt, she's been very helpful. I mean, she's been so helpful in so many ways. She's a prophet. She actually saw something in a dream And that's where the doors began to open. She saw something way back then that happened, and I had never told anyone other than my sisters. We've gotten some therapy as far as the church is concerned. The church has helped me to get along, but we are, we're taking it day by day. Why do I share my story so proudly, so openly? I believe that I can help others. I'd like to, help as many people as I can. I don't know what everyone's destiny is or whatever they're trying to achieve, but like I said, I've gone on. I've gotten 3 other degrees because there's something I'm trying to do as far as going to law school. Something there are things that I'm trying to do academically that's maybe a little different from someone else, but maybe someone else has a hope or a dream, and don't believe they can achieve it, because this happened. Well, that happened, but I believe that people can create a better ending. Did I think about myself? Yes, I thought about myself. I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, and I had swallowed a whole bottle of Tylenol pills. They had taken me to the hospital, children's hospital in Memphis, and they pumped my stomach. I'm still alive. Yeah, I've had some behavioral issues. I know that they say, well, he's probably bipolar or schizophrenic. Well, I'm glad I'm not dead. It's just good to talk, as far as a counselor is concerned or therapist is concerned. I do believe that, if I can continue to help other people, I'll essentially help my own self, For me, what helped me was faith. I know that people have a lot of opinions about faith and God and all, but what helped me was God. God, faith and God helped me, and He helped me through other people. So I would like to tell other people to forgive, and if you're still in that situation, you need to find a way to get out.
I was just
going to say, you can forgive, but I don't want to give you that freedom in my life to bring something else on me. I would like for people to just get away, get out, and find a place where they feel safe to get the help that they need. Find some people that you can trust and let someone help you. You can't make it on your own. You can't get there by yourself. Someone else has to help you, direct you in those places. I thank you for listening to my story. I hope that it's helped you. I hope that you can gain something positive from something that I shared today. And thank you for your time.
That is wild, man. That's crazy. And even the fact that after everything that he just told us, he still said you just have to forgive. Forgive? Like, I just feel like just me in general, if I would have been in his situation, which is like that forgive word with what happened with him, it's a small window, like a very small window. And it takes a very strong person to be able to get through that very small window and forgive. The fact that he's still able to be as successful that he is now with the accomplishments that he's, seeking to get through just through himself, the degrees, he became a pastor himself. He's trying to do the right thing and put a stop to what possibly happened to him as a kid, because I'm positive that it's still situations like this going on to this day, but in his mind, he want to make sure that he can save as many people as possible, whoever, whoever comes to his church or whatever. But the fact that he's trying to go above and beyond to even like get, his degree to try to make a change with just even like the judicial system and to potentially help, if it can't help his situation, it will be able to help someone's situation. And like I said, man, I just have a different respect for this man. The fact that he's just able to talk about this and not get emotional, like something like this. Honestly, I couldn't imagine people just talking about this and not getting emotional. The fact that he's able to talk to this for, we watched this for 15 minutes and he haven't got emotional. He just, been telling his story for the past 10 years of what possibly went on. Hold on, wait a minute. And it's sad to know that something happened like this in a place like the church where you were supposed to come and praise and you're supposed to feel the safest at church. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people, they have different religions, but you have some type of religion where you go to a home, or I mean, even if you don't go to a church, the Kingdom Hall or anything, you know what I'm saying? Like it's still a place where people are coming together to worship a higher power. You know, and the fact that that's not what their focus was. Their focus was, you know, basically organized trafficking, about making it seem like it's of something of substance. In reality, what they're committing is just basically all the fraud, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? But it's so much that I can't say, because everything that was being said, really, I said throughout the video, and I feel like that he touched on a lot of subjects that really, like, he explained it for me, you know. And like I said, I know a lot of people out there that's finna comment and be like, man, I honestly couldn't even forgive. Like, it's a lot of people who would have ended up in jail. The fact that he still took care of his parents after that situation, because he forgave them, even though they didn't say they were sorry, they didn't talk about it, they just passed away. You know, he said, like, God help me get through what I'm getting through now. You know, prayers out to him and his family, his sister, and anybody who is a victim of something like this. You know, I do hope and, you know, pray that you're able to, you know, I know it's probably not something that you'll be able to get over, but, you know, you're able to get the help and therapy to where you're able to, you know, live on and potentially help the next person to prevent that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what he's trying to do right now is a prime example of getting empowered to prevent, you know, something like that happening to a younger generation. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, like, when he do go out to these different churches and things like that, if somebody's on that, he's able to get them up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, it's just sad, man. Like, I don't know. Like this whole video in general, like, I honestly got very in tune. It just gave me chills throughout the entire video to just listen to a grown man go into detail about how traumatic his childhood life was just growing up, you know. And, man, y'all just let me know y'all honest thoughts and opinions on this down below, man. And we out. I love y'all. Y'all be safe, man.